Joe. These are just opinions. I am Joepinionated. Welcome to the 25 best songs of 1969. Check in the description for the complete playlist of over 100 songs from 1969. I've gone through and ranked all these albums on Rate Your Music. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. Number 25 comes from the legend Sly Stone, Sly and the Family Stone, and classic album. And the song I'm picking is "I Want to Take You Higher." Sly Stone, Freddie Stone, Rose Stone, Family Stone, and I believe this is the song that convinced Miles Davis to convert, jump into the next decade and take his stuff to a higher level. And it's from Sly Stone, who's this group is responsible for way more than they get credit for. Number 25, "I Want to Take You Higher." Number 24, from Spooky Tooth, I'm going with the track "Better by You, Better Than Me." Spooky Tooth is a prog rock band. 1969 has way too much prog. That was a bit of a slog for me. It's, I don't get me wrong, I like prog rock. I own a few Spooky Tooth albums, and this is some of my favorite prog rock. It's pretty funky, pretty smart. And Spooky Tooth is a British prog rock band. Number 23 comes from CCR. I'm going with the track "Green River." Creedence I think they had 3 albums in 1969, and that's pretty common in 1969. There's a lot of bands with multiple records, so there's many huge songs to pick from. I'm picking "Green River" just because it's not quite most overplayed CCR songs. So CCR pretty popular where I come from. I'm sure they are from everywhere. They're super big. Fogerty always selling out the arenas around here as well. CCR, "Green River," number 23. Number 22 comes from this little band, Led Zeppelin, who put out 2 albums in 1969. They will be featured both on the Albums of the Year episode next. The song I'm going from Led Zeppelin 2, because we only have one song from each album on this top 25 songs from 1969. So that's something I haven't mentioned yet. Picking only one song from each album, max, just to mix it up a bit, keep things interesting. The song I'm going with is What Is and What Should Never Be. Led Zeppelin, almost infallible. If it wasn't for Presence, I would call them infallible. Check out the Led Zeppelin Desert Island playlist episode on this channel, Joepinionated, on YouTube and YouTube Music. And the playlists are on both as well. And I'm on some of the podcast things. Number 21 comes from Bob Dylan, and the collaboration as well with Johnny Cash, "Girl from the North Country." It's between this one and "Lay Lady Lay," 1969 from Dylan. Why not get a little Johnny Cash in there too? "Girl from the North Country." What a beautiful song. Probably as good as Bob Dylan, pretty close to as good as Bob Dylan gets. 1969, Dylan's the king of the 60s, and it does pretty good in the 70s too. Number 20, I'm going with the track that could make it from 2 different albums this year. I'm going with Joe Cocker's cover of the Beatles. The song is "She Came In Through the Bathroom Window," one of Paul's parts from the medley at the end of Abbey Road. Joe Cocker was a huge surprise to me doing these deep dives for the year. These albums are great. There's tons of incredible players on Joe Cocker's albums. Just look at the list, and I was very familiar with obviously the hits before. I've known this song, his cover of "She Came In Through the Bathroom Window," one of my favorite Beatles tracks, period. I've known this song for a long time, and so it's easy. Number 20, Joe Cocker's version of "She Came In Through the Bathroom Window." Number 19, I'm going with Tammy Wynette, "Stand By Your Man," 1969. Boy, oh boy, do I love Tammy Wynette and George Jones and their whole tandem. I just recently picked up, I believe it's their greatest hits. Great album, has all the hits on it. So stoked about that. And yeah, I obviously I've always known this song, DOVORCE, but I don't know. The song just even growing on to me to this day. I really like Mike Judge's "Tales from the Tour Bus," mentioned many times. Tammy Wynette and George Jones featured in that quite a bit. Number 18 comes from Taj Mahal, and I'm going to go with "Fishing Blues," which maybe isn't the best song on the album. You're all aware of it. I'm going fishing. My baby's going fishing too. Taj albums are really incredible. He's a great guitar player and great singer and very unique sound. You know, this McGee album from 2024 has some flavors of Taj Mahal on it. Fish and Blues to me is an important song. I remember we sang it in our class when I was a kid, grade three. Also, it was featured on one of my favorite episodes of the Wonder Years where uh, Kevin and his brother and his dad go on a camping trip. Wayne and Jack Hartnold go on a camping trip and they go fishing by the side of a creek or whatever. And it's one of the later seasons, maybe the last season even. And it starts and ends with Taj Mahal's Fish and Blues. And I love that show. Brought up many of my movie episodes on this channel. That series is called Radflix. Fish and Blues from Taj Mahal, number 18. That's 1969. Up next, song number 17. The song is called I'm Not the Same Person, and it's by Johnny Taylor off the album Who's Making Love. This real soul sound. He's from like Arkansas down there. And he's got a real Otis Redding sound, 1969. So Otis had passed away at this point. I'm pretty sure. I know he was big at the Monterey Pop Festival, and that was 67. I think he died just after that. Anyway, sorry, Johnny Taylor really kind of picks up where Otis left off. He doesn't go for as long as Otis did, but anyways, he does have an incredible voice. I don't really know what happened to him. We're not the same person. It's a great track, and the album's chock full of these tracks. If you know that soul music, the Otis stuff, and Al Green and that sort of stuff, you're gonna like this album from Johnny Taylor. Up next, number 16 from 10 years after. I'm going with the track Two-Time Mama from 10 years after. Just a fun, rocking, very 1969 track. These guys kind of have like a real, I don't know what to say, Woodstock feel to them. It's kind of a jammy, Grateful Dead-y kind of, I don't know, CCR fun music. 10 years after. Up next, the absolute legendary king of blues rock, Howlin' Wolf. This is Howlin' Wolf's new album. He doesn't like it. He didn't like his electric guitar at first either. The track I'm going with from this album, from the 1969 Howlin' Wolf album, is Spoonful. I'm currently looking for a copy of this one. Howlin' Wolf is just so fun, so easy to listen to. So many people idolized him. Lots of my heroes. I love these unique voice guys, the Tom Waits guys of the world, but just people with these unique tones and able to pull it off like this. And I believe it 100% of the time. This is what this guy sounds like all the time, every time. Fantastic playing throughout the album. And I'm going with Spoonful from Howlin' Wolf. Number 14 comes from Harry Nilsson. The Lord Must Be in New York City. This is the song that he wanted to get onto. What's that movie called? Oh my God, what the hell is the movie called? The movie with Dustin Hoffman, John Voight. Not Butch. I keep thinking Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. It's not. How is it called? Fuck. I forget. I gotta know what this is called. Anyways, featured on that movie, Harry Nilsson. Plenty of Harry Nilsson episodes on this channel because I'm a huge fan. And we've done Desert Island playlist for Harry Nilsson, top 20 songs for Harry Nilsson on this channel. So check him out. If you don't know who he is, watch the documentary about Harry Nilsson. It's fantastic. The guy influenced, I don't know, the Beatles. So that's kind of key. I'd say that's key. And also, I became best friends with Ringo and part of the Lost Weekend, Hollywood Vampires. One of the greatest voices of all time, Harry Nilsson, before him and John wrecked that, John Lennon. Anyways, and the movie is called Midnight Cowboy. Is that what it's called? I'm just gonna say it's called Midnight Cowboy. I'm pretty sure that's right. Up next from Toots and the Maytals, I'm going with the song Pressure Drop. Pressure drop, oh pressure gonna drop on you. What a cool, humble guy as well. Anyways, Toots, respect. I mean, my favorite stuff coming out of the Caribbean for sure is Toots. I'm going with Roberta Flack's version of Compared to What. I don't know. Actually, maybe this is her song. I'm not even actually positive on that. I know I was always into the Eddie Harris. I think it's Les McCann. Les McCann's on this version too. So maybe, anyways, compared to what? Really cool song. And Roberta Flack is really beautiful piano, jazz singing, pretty album. Better than pretty. It's really cool. And yeah, Roberta Flack, legend. Compared to what? Great, great song, great lyrics. Try to make it real compared to what. Okay, number 11, another song that's done by a few people. I think I want to say it's an Aretha Franklin song, but I might be wrong with that too. She definitely sang it at one point. The song is Do Right Woman, and I'm going with the Flying Burrito Brothers version from 1969. Flying Burrito Brothers featuring Chris Hillman, Graham Parsons, Sneaky Pete, Ernie Leadon, and Michael Clark. What a killer, I don't know what you call this, country rock Americana album from 1969. Kind of ahead of its time, really. It's a timeless album from the Flying Burrito Brothers. Graham Parsons, met his tragic demise a few years later. He had done a couple of solo albums, which I'm not that crazy about, but obviously back at this point, really good. And Do Right Woman, I love their version of Do Right Woman. Very pretty. My favorite version of the song. It's from the Flying Burrito Brothers, and it's a very famous song. I once saw Black Crowes singing it. They did a great job too. Number 10, we're going with Whipping Post from the Allman Brothers. This is Whipping Post. This is Allman Brothers. This is like, one of their, Stairway to Heaven type tracks. There's a big deal for them. 1969. I think that's they debuted in 1969. I'm pretty sure this is off their debut album. That's Derek or Butch Trucks, Dwayne Allman, Greg Allman, Dickie Betts, Barry Oakley. Yeah, I think these guys are doing okay. Whipping Post from the Allman Brothers, number 10. Number 9 from Crosby, Stills, and Nash. The song is Helplessly Hoping. So this isn't Helpless that you hear on the last waltz from Neil Young. This is Helplessly Hoping off of the Crosby, Stills, and Nash album. Also incredible song. Also really, really effing good. I do love, obviously, Neil's Helpless on Deja Vu even more, but Helplessly Hoping off of this album certainly deserves a mention. And it's a good album. I think it's actually a really good album. So pick it up if you see it on the shelves. Number 8 comes from Moondog's 1969 album. And I had a hard time picking a track from this one. I'm going to go with The Witch of Endor. This album is best served whole. And I think you should add it to your dinner music collection ASAP. There's a repress that's out there from, I believe, I don't know. But anyways, found a copy of it, and it was very reasonably priced on 180 gram vinyl. And if you don't know who Moondog is, he's this blind guy in New York City that dressed like a Viking, always dreamed of living where the Vikings are. So I think he ended up going and moving to Scandinavia somewhere after making it big in New York. He used to perform on the streets and stuff like that, and had carte blanche of the local orchestra, the biggest ones, and kind of a mad scientist of music. And he has these like Aboriginal inspired, native inspired rhythms to his jazz compositions. He takes classical music, entire sections and movements, and compresses them into 3 minute songs, and it works. It's incredible. It's incredible. Witch of Endor from Moondog, number 8. Number 7 from Pulp Fiction, I'm going with Son of a Preacher Man. I don't think I knew what the song was before I saw Son of a Preacher Man by Dusty Springfield. Great album. The whole album sounds fantastic. So much soul in her voice. Yeah, Son of a Preacher Man. The only boy that could ever teach me was a son of a preacher man. The album is Dusty in Memphis. I think it cracks my top 25 on the albums list. Son of a Preacher Man, number 7. Number 6 comes from The Band. That's The Band. And rest in peace recently to Garth Hudson and Robbie Robertson. Since I did my band episode on this channel, there's a new Desert Island playlist episode of The Band coming out later on in March of 2025. Sure to check back in for that one. Love The Band. So 1969, this is the Brown album, or the Brown covered self-titled album. I'm going with The Night They Drove Old Dixie Down. Incredible song inspired by the Civil War. They got Robert E. Lee in there. Dang, what an original, different sound and song. Levon's voice brings such an element to these tracks as well, because the other four members of the band, Rick, Richard, Robbie, and Garth, were all Canadians. I believe they're all from Ontario. Levon's voice really adds to the song. Incredible. It's just an incredible, unique, one of a kind song. Like my father before me, I will work the land. And like my brother above me, who took a rebel's stand. I don't know. So cool. Number 5 comes from Led Zeppelin. We'll know going with Your Time Is Gonna Come. Check out our episode on Desert Island playlist for Led Zeppelin, because this was the first pick. Spoiler, first pick was Your Time Is Gonna Come from Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin won. What do you say about possibly the greatest band of all time? Led Zeppelin. 1969 has a few of these greatest bands of all time. Number 4, going with maybe the greatest band of all time again, the Beatles. And I'm going with Here Comes the Sun from Abbey Road, 1969. Obviously, every song on Abbey Road is acceptable. And I mean every song. I'm going with Here Comes the Sun. I got special memories with the song. It's a beautiful song. It's a Harrison song, which is kind of rare for me, because when it comes to the Beatles, I think I like John's solo work more than Paul, but I like Paul's Beatles work possibly more than John's. And I've always liked those two guys' stuff more than George myself. But no hating on George, because he is the third piece of this incredible puzzle that is the Beatles. Here Comes the Sun. I believe he wrote it at Eric Clapton's house or with the assistance of Eric Clapton. Anyways, love the song. Number 3 from Jimmy Cliff, I'm going with Many Rivers to Cross. Such an emotional song. It's just like you're instantly drawn in. It's almost like a Lean on Me classic, where just kind of Stand By Me, like you just kind of get drawn into it instantly. You feel the emotion. It's just, something comfortable about it. There's something very much protest about it. There's something very beautiful about it. Many Rivers Across from Jimmy Cliff. And I love John Lennon and Harry Nelson's version of it later on, which was featured on the Harry Nelson episode. Number 2 from supergroup Blind Faith, Had to Cry Today. Had to Cry Today from Blind Faith. Rick Grech on bass, Eric Clapton on guitar, Ginger Baker on drums, Steve Winwood on keyboards and vocals. Had to Cry Today. Check out the Live at Hyde Park version of this song to watch Steve belt it out, and it's incredible. These guys, oh man, I wish they made more music. And number 1 from Canadian Joni Mitchell. She actually I don't know actually where she lives now, but I know she was living close by. I live here on Vancouver Island on the West Coast. Nobody bigger than Joni, really, as far as Canadian musicians of all time go. She's in the top few every list I've ever seen. So much respect. The song I'm picking is Both Sides Now. Huge song, obviously. So pretty. And also another song that really reminds me of the Wonder Years, featured on there on some of my favorite episodes as well. Joni Mitchell, 1969. I think that goes hand in hand. It's flower folk, beautiful melodic singing from Joni all over this album. So cool to watch her perform it live. Both Sides Now. So that's it for 1969. Top 25 albums up next on the channel from 1969. Be sure to check out the channel, Joepinionated, on YouTube Music. Remember to be normal, like, comment, subscribe. Sorry, I'm a little low on facts and high on opinions. We out. Respect to Joni Mitchell, Canadian legend.